Tuesday, December 29th, 2020, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So 2020 will be remembered as a year where you don't even have to say what happened in 2020. But one thing for us who follow the monetary system, the fraudulent nature of our system, and I'll come to why I think it's fraudulent in a minute. Yeah, it will be remembered actually as the year for us monetary students of the world, the year where MMT came to life. What is MMT? Well, it's modern monetary theory. What is modern monetary theory? Well, it's the modern version of the alchemists who thought they could create gold out of lead. The MMT crowd, they think they can create gold out of paper. Yeah, at the moment, they are succeeding because you can still use their paper to buy gold. Gold is still not as highly valued as it should be, and paper is still highly valued, but eventually that paper will show its true self, that it's worth zero, of course, as Voltaire said. Eventually fiat money or paper money reverts to its intrinsic value of zero, of course. And so why is it a fraudulent system? Well, because money is supposed to be a most marketable commodity. And what do I mean by that? Well, you have to go back to the beginnings of society, when people went from being self-sufficient or subsistent farmers, for example, or hunter-gatherers, and then society evolved, or humans evolved into societies, into tribes, groups of people, eventually small towns and big cities. And I recommend, before I go further, a really good book about that from the Austrian School of Economics. One of the proponents, of course, of the Austrian School, Murray and Rothbard. And it's entitled, "What Has Government Done to Our Money?" So here it is. Rothbard's. You can get a free PDF online, of course, or you could buy that from the Mises Institute, Mises.org, or you could buy it from anywhere else you want, of course. So basically, the easy way to explain what function money should have and what money should really be is if you go back to a barter system. So in the barter system, unless you have something of value to exchange with someone else, there will be no exchange. If you try to give someone a blank piece of paper for a new car or for a meal at a restaurant, they wouldn't accept it. So through time, there was a most marketable commodity. And what does most marketable commodity mean? Well, it means that it's something that everyone accepts because everyone wants that commodity. And usually that becomes money. It's a commodity as well that is got a stable store of value over time. It's a commodity that is able to be divided into pieces over time, or it's divisible. It's easy to work with, and that becomes money. And of course, these two most marketable commodities over the last few thousand years have been gold and silver, of course. And not to say that there hasn't been other commodities that at times and in different societies have been money, like shells, like cigarettes after World War II in Germany. So MMT basically says that government decides what is money or fiat currency, right? And that they can create as much as they want out of thin air, that fiat currency, and that will make society wealthy because in a free market system where money is the most marketable commodity, unless people create value, they can't exchange anything. But in MMT, we are told that government has the power to create something of value out of thin air. And that's what we've come to. And the crisis of 2020 is a perfect excuse for the public to accept this kind of thing, because you can even see on the right now, people are saying, well, we do need the checks from Congress or from Parliament or from the EU because they've shut down our economy. So it's right that they do that. Even people who believe in free markets, and even people who have some sense of rationality, some common sense of what money is, they are going to accept this, and they wouldn't have accepted this if there wasn't the 2020 crisis. And yeah, the people who are benefiting the most from this, of course, are the big Wall Street and international bankers, of course. Yes, technology has benefited this year as well from the crisis. But yeah, it's mostly Wall Street, because the money, the MMT, is still going to be created through debt, of course, because they're indebting the taxpayer. The taxpayer is still going to pay for it. Right now, of course, we've also got the central bank helping out because there's so much debt. And I have a feeling that eventually the currencies, fiat currencies, are going to become so worthless that MMT is not really going to be a panacea, but it will lead to the destruction of these fiat currencies, of course. And we're continue to see that through the data. We got the most recent M1 data from the St. Louis Fed, and M1 is continuing to move a lot higher. It was published yesterday, December 28th, on Monday. Usually it comes out on Thursday, but because of the holidays, it's come out on a Monday. And you can see M1 is again spiking here, now up to almost 6.75 trillion. It's gone up by 18% since the middle of November, M1. And M2 is doing the same, still going up as well, as you can see. And even for those who think there is no inflation, who say, oh, velocity is low. And yes, velocity is low, but it's starting to pick up as well. As you can see here, M2 money velocity is bottoming, it looks like. We need to keep an eye on that, of course. And the Fed's balance sheet as well just made a new high at 7.4 trillion. And that's been in a period where there hasn't been any fiscal stimulus. But now we also see that the House has approved an even larger stimulus to the one that President Trump just signed. And it's going to add about $500 billion in debt. It's going to be, I think, 464 billion stimulus. It would increase the checks, the MMT checks, from 600 to 2,000. Right now, the only thing blocking this is the Senate. As the FT says here, House approves largest stimulus checks for most Americans. Vote puts pressure on Republican-held Senate to boost payments from 600 to 2,000. So the question should be, why not raise it to 10,000? What difference does it make? It's just numbers, right? On a spreadsheet. So it's a crazy world. And of course, the investment banks have benefited. Another story out today. Global banks scoop record 125 billion fee haul in 2020. The big Wall Street banks, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citi, they each, on average, got about 7.5 billion. So that compared to 2,000 for each individual, I mean, the 2,000 is like peanuts, right? So those are the people benefiting from it. Government is benefiting as well, of course, because they're keeping this game going. they haven't lost any income. They'll probably get a pay rise next year or so. But hundreds of thousands of small businesses, of course, have been destroyed this year, and are probably there's going to be even more destruction coming in 2021, because they're still hyping up this crisis. As I can see, more talk of lockdowns here in the UK, and I don't think that will change. Of course, we've got in the US, I don't think it will change either. I don't think the politics really matter, because who's been in charge under this crazy crisis? Well, it's been a Republican president. Yeah, you can say whatever you want about the election, but you can't change that fact. And they've been able to put that crisis through and change the way things are. Am I going to buy into MMT? Of course not. MMT, I think, is a system of dependency, a system of big government, a system where you will be beholden to government, and if you don't behave like they want you to, you will lose that meager income that you'll be getting. What's the way to remain independent and self-reliant? Well, that's up to each individual or each family. It's not for me to decide. I would say the first thing that people need to look at, really basic, if you want to be self-reliant, and it's something my wife and I started doing when we got married with the finances, and it's not rocket science. It's just having a budget and knowing how much you spend every month, so that you can know how much you need to bring in, and bring in through real effort, through work, through creating value any way you can, not through receiving the dole from government, not through being dependent on someone else. And that's how it starts. You need to have a budget. You need to know how much you spend every month and how much you bring in. And if you're able to have a little surplus at the end of every month, then you can start to build on that base and create your own independent household. And I think that's the most important thing for me. And I don't know all of my viewers and subscribers' circumstances, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of you that are in the US, or even a lot of you that are in the UK, have accepted government money because they've given it to you. But be warned that it's no panacea for real independence and the creation of wealth, so to speak. So yeah, let's look at the markets then today. It's 9:15 a.m. London. Yesterday we saw silver doing really well, and gold was doing really well as well, just before the Bank of England came in and probably manipulated the price. We saw the pound is really weak, so you could see they're trying to keep the price of gold and pounds from going up. I think they were also trying to keep silver from going even further, so they put the lid on gold. They couldn't put the lid on silver. But I've seen that this morning, about 3 hours ago, they smashed silver like 50 cents in a matter of minutes, down to below 26. So today they're going after silver. Right now we've got gold up about $5 at 18.79. High's been 18.84, low 18.80. Silver, as I said, got down just below 26. That was around 1:30 a.m. New York, 6:30 a.m. London. Right now we're at 26.18, down 6 cents. or 1/4%. The high has been 26.63. Yes, it's frustrating, but 2020 has been frustrating as well. I think most people now realize how people like, if you want to call us gold bugs, I don't care. We're sound money proponents. You realize how frustrating it is to know something and to know that this there is a bigger force out there manipulating and lying about things. So now we know how it feels. 2020 is got manipulation and lies in spades, I think. And it doesn't mean to say that it isn't true that gold and silver aren't money and that eventually all these fiat currencies are going to be worthless against these metals. At least it gives us a chance, if we've got that little surplus or a big surplus at the end of the month, to keep accumulating or stacking it. So yeah, that's where we are. The stock market, well, they just continue to go higher. Of course, it benefits Wall Street. It benefits Uncle Sam because it's the only kind of source of revenue now for Uncle Sam. But once that comes down, the stock market valuations come down, because you have to admit they're pretty crazy considering where the world is. I think the officials, monetary and fiscal officials, are going to pump up the system even more. Eventually, we're going to end up like Venezuela, Brazil, and Germany, Weimar Germany. Yes, stock prices are going to seem really great, the nominal prices, but they're not going to be, the currency they're denominated in is going to become worthless. So we've got the Dow futures up another 0.5% at 30,575. S&P is up 0.5% as well, the future. NASDAQ 100 future is up 0.4%. Even the FTSE here in the UK is up 1.6%. Sterling is back up a little bit today, is up about 1/3 at 135.06. The euro is up 0.2 at 122.39. The dollar is down slightly versus the yen, and the dollar is down 0.25% versus the yuan at 651.70. WTI crude is up 1% at 48.21. It is lower from yesterday when I spoke, though. And the 10-year yield, let's quickly have a look where that is. 10-year yield is at 0.95, up about a basis point. So yes, they're controlling everything. At the moment, they're succeeding. They're keeping a lid on the precious metals. Precious metals, gold and silver, the monetary metals, they are a barometer of monetary and fiscal rectitude. So the higher those fiat prices for gold and silver go, the more it points to basically a Potemkin village of value, really, of fakery. So that's why they need to keep the precious metals suppressed as much as they can. They can't do it forever, because as I've said before, if they could, we'd still be at $20.67, like back in 1933, right? Just before they revalued it to 35, or we would be at 35. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Parler, and all these other platforms below. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.